Mud terrain tyres, the difference between them is that the mud terrain tyres have a bigger lug. So you're not going to get the wear out of a mud terrain tyre compared to an all-terrain tyre. Like if you're looking for a tyre that's going to be wanting to be doing up and down the highway and wanting to get good Ks out of them as well as perform off-road well, you probably should go to an all-terrain variant instead of the mud terrain. Kilometres in mud terrain tyres are not very good. Don't expect to get 60, 70, 80,000 Ks out of a mud terrain tyre because you just won't. All-terrain tyres will do that any day of the week. The reason is because the lugs are bigger in a mud terrain tyre, and there's more silica compound in them. So silica compound in a tyre, it cut and chip resistant, so it stops the chips and it stops the cut as much in those tyres compared to an all-terrain tyre, where an all-terrain tyre will chip out a little bit more than a mud terrain tyre if you're going on gravel roads all the time. But if you're up and down the highway, all terrains are perfect. There's not as much silica. The rubber blocks aren't as big as they are in the mud terrain tyres. So we have the bigger rubber blocks because it grips in the mud better. The spaces between the lugs are bigger as well. So there's more dispersion between the mud can get in, get out. They have in these tyres as well, they have self-cleaning little lugs here. So what these do is it agitates anything that's stuck in between the lugs and it shoots them out as you're driving along. These tyres also have a really good side biter as well. So if you fall into a rut or you're climbing up the side of a rut, if you're going up and down it, whatever it is, these lugs here on the side, when you've got the right pressure in your tyres, bite into the side of the ruts and what it does is it helps you drive in and out of that sort of situation that you're in. We've had that a couple of times down in Barrington Tops where the back wheel's fallen in and the side biters had just held on and we didn't fall into the rut and I didn't even feel like I fell into the rut. The only way I knew is because it was on footage. Road noise on mud terrain tyres is another thing. They can be very loud. I find these aren't too loud, but then again, I've got twin 4-inch exhaust so I can barely hear the tyres. But if you've got a car that's got no exhaust and it's pretty stock standard and you're putting mud terrain tyres on, you will tell the difference between a mud terrain tyre and an all-terrain tyre. So that there is a noise level there as well. Tyre pressures that you should run, obviously it depends on where you are. For these here, because they are a stronger tyre, I do like to try and bag the tyres out a little bit more. If I'm going off-road, my general tyre pressure is probably around that 18 to 20 pound of pressure. Just gets that bellowing out of the side and a more footprint on the ground. So some people might go a little bit higher, but I reckon that works perfect for us. And you get a bit more grip. And like I said, we've never had any problems with that, running those pressures out of these tyres at all. So we find that's probably going to be our best tyre pressure for us as well. If we were going to be on real soft sand, I'd probably lower it a little bit lower than the 18. I could probably drop these down to that 10 if I really wanted to for real soft sand. I haven't had to yet, and I'm pretty lucky that we haven't had to, because who really wants to be in that situation where you're getting really, really bogged in the soft sand? But around that sort of pressure, muddy, you're probably up around that, like I said, that 20, maybe a little bit more, but I wouldn't go too much more than that. Otherwise, you're not getting enough bellowing out, especially out of these tyres, out of that pressure. Less air in your tyres though as well gives you a smoother ride off-road. You drive up and down the beach in 40 pound of pressure, not only are you going to get stuck, but you're going to feel every bump and it's just going to ride like complete crap. Lowering your pressures down to that 20 as an all-round pressure, the smoother the ride is just going to be completely different, and it's not going to be about how good your suspension is. If you've got 40 pound of pressure, it's going to still ride like crap. You lower your pressures to suit where you are. The ride of the car, it's not going to shake the crap out of your car. Everything's not going to rattle. It's just going to have more give in the tyre and it's going to be so much more smoother. Going back to these side biters as well, they are perfect for moulding around objects. So when you're running like that 20 pound of pressure and you're off-road, you come up to a big rock, your tyre's actually going to mould around that rock to get over it, or whatever it is, get around it. If you've got 40 pound of pressure and there's no give in your tyre, what's going to happen is the tyre is going to hit a sharp object. It's either going to pierce it sometimes, cut it, or it's just not going to get over it and it's just going to be a rough ride, as I said before. So lowering your pressures is going to give you that moulding around the tyre as well. Anyways, so like I said, we run the Mickey Thompsons. I'll give you a bit of a look at the tread depths and stuff like that as well. I'll give you a bit of a look at the treads. I'll give you a look at the Baja Legends that MTZs that Freddie's running on the Collie, and the all-terrain variant as well.